And it's good to have you on the program Disability Inclusion, coming to you live from the network service of Radio Nigeria. The program Disability Inclusion is a program where we talk about everything that has to do with persons with disabilities, including highlighting their challenges and opportunities and preparing the way forward. My name is Jennifer Ogo, your host on today's program. Just to let you know that we are streaming live on our social media handles at the Albino Foundation on Instagram at TAF_NIG, on Twitter at TAF_NIG. Now, the program for today, our focus will be the role of the Federal Character Commission in addressing discriminatory recruitment against persons with disabilities in Nigeria. The Nigeria Public Service, having experienced a regime that has shown commitment in promoting the inclusion of persons with disabilities into the society, is still yet to show evidence of progress regarding an inclusive recruitment process. Stories abound of discrimination against persons with disabilities during recruitment into federal ministries, departments, and agencies, recruitment of the highest bidder and the influential, leaving the ordinary Nigerians with a disability to suffer unemployment even when qualified for positions in the sector. These acts subvert a system that is designed to enhance the unity and inclusivity in the country. With the highlighted areas of vulnerability during recruitment within the public service sector, it is necessary to address the various forms of its manifestation and how citizens can work with the relevant stakeholders to address its occurrences and canvass for persons with disability inclusive recruitment process. This will be our focus today on the program Disability Inclusion. And joining us to discuss the topic, we have Adamu Idris Abdullahi, the Director, Executive Chairman's Office, Federal Character Commission. Good evening, sir, and welcome to the program.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
And we also have our second guest, who is Dr. Chuks Okoli, the Director, Public Affairs and Communication Department, Federal Character Commission. Good evening, sir, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, so before we go straight into our subject matter, we like to give you an update as it concerns persons with disabilities and the Albino Foundation. To take a listen.
With support from the European Union and its EU program, the Albino Foundation organized a gender education campaign tasked able to vote for persons with disabilities to reduce voter apathy among people with disabilities in the electoral process. During that event, the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, said the 2023 general election will require mass participation of persons with disabilities due to the provision of the new electoral act. Professor Yakubu commended the Albino Foundation for initiating the campaign aimed at reducing voter apathy as well as promoting the mainstreaming of people with disabilities in the electoral process, assuring that INEC was ready to provide the necessary assistive devices. He said that data from the INEC voters register showed that a lot of people with disabilities were registered. In his words, we owe it as a duty to our democratic and electoral processes, as well as national growth and development, to encourage their active participation as citizens with equal rights. One of the progressive provisions of the Electoral Act 2022 is the specific provision on the participation of people with disabilities in the electoral process. Section 54 provides for assistive and inclusive devices, which in a sense has codified some of the initiatives already undertaken by the Commission. The introduction of the assistive devices, such as the brain ballot guide, magnifying glasses, and posters for the deaf were all products by engagement with the disability community, he said. Yakubu added, we have also gathered data on disability from the last voter registration exercise disaggregated by type of disability. For instance, we now know the percentages of new registrants with albinism, blindness, hearing challenges, spinal cord injuries, Down syndrome, etc. Chief Executive Officer and founder, the Albino Foundation, Jane Ekeli,
They need to
ensuring
please put it.
people
Because when the callers they call in, they might want to ask some questions, so you need to hear them. For the phone calls, the callers will call in and might want to ask the question. The callers they call in, they might want to ask the question, so you need to hear them.
and have put all the parameters in place to ensure that we participate fully. We are going to be deploying several content members of and observers in our electoral form in partnership with INEC. We will deploy an on-the-spot app that will give us an on-the-spot assessment of what is happening. Every polling unit will be real-time data. Said that for the first time in the history of the country, sign language interpreters will be deployed in the two houses of the National Assembly with salary payment for 3 years, and interns will be sent to 10 state houses of assembly for legislation. The chairman National Population Commission, Mr. National Farah, said that the commission was working towards a successful census in the country. Farah said that people with disability will be carried along in the census process, both to serve and to be served as participants, because inclusion was part of the commission's key goal. The executive secretary of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, Mr. James Lam, said the long political parties have been excluding people with disabilities from their activities. According to him, due to the intervention of INEC, a lot of political parties have been considering people with disabilities. Athletes with hearing impairment under the aegis of the Deaf Athletic Association have also President Muhammadu Buhari and Sunday Dare, Minister of Youth and Sports Development, to allow them to participate in the 21st National Sport Festival, scheduled to hold later in the year in Amsterdam, United States. The spokesperson who appealed in the protest on Monday in the City said excluding them from the forthcoming sport festival is discriminatory and urged President Muhammadu Buhari to look into the situation to give them the chance to showcase their talents. Speaking on behalf of the protesters, Sonny Amukwa, head coach of Deaf Sports in Edo, said omitting Deaf Sports from the National Sport Festival is tantamount to segregating the private from their rights. Restore Foundation for Child Sight, an NGO, on Sunday appealed to the federal government to create policies that will help children with albinism perform better in education. Alibi said that children born with albinism suffer eye problems that start from the inception of pregnancy. She added that creating policies that will mandate publishers to print books in bigger and bolder text will go a long way in ensuring that children with low vision will be reduced. The founder added that the process will ultimately bring out the eye child health protection legislation to be an enforced law in favor of persons with albinism in the country. I am Jemima Ford.
As a person with disability in Nigeria, do you know you have a right to vote in the upcoming general elections and subsequent off-cycle elections?
Devil's Vote is a strategic campaign by the Albino Foundation to reduce voter apathy amongst the persons with disability in Nigeria. Come 2023, go out and exercise your right to vote.
From the North Central to Northeast, Northwest, Southwest, Southeast, and South-South, the Albino Foundation is safeguarding disability inclusion in Nigeria's electoral process through its ongoing nationwide voter education campaign for the community of persons with disabilities. The Able to Vote scheduled activities will commence with a national press conference in Abuja on the 18th of October 2022, while state activities will hold in Abuja October 19th, Kaduna October 24th, Gombe October 51st, Port Harcourt November 7th, Enugu November 16th, Lagos November 21st. Able to vote. Voting is our right. This message is brought to you by the Albino Foundation in collaboration with the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, NCPWD, and funded by the European Union through its EU SDGA program. TAF, Disability Inclusion Champion.
And it's still Disability Inclusion coming to you live from the network service of Radio Nigeria. In case you were unable to get that message, you can just follow us on our social media handles to keep yourself updated on the Able to Vote campaign. Now, the Facebook page is at the Albino Foundation, the Instagram at TAF_NIG, and on Twitter at TAF_NIG. We are also streaming live on the program Disability Inclusion. Now, let's get to hear from our guests, and then this is our interview segment. Once again, our guest for today's program is Adamu Abdullahi Idris, the Director Executive Chairman's Office, Federal Character Commission, and also Dr. Chuks Okoli, Director of Public Affairs and Communication, Federal Character Commission. And we are talking about the role of the Federal Character Commission in addressing discriminatory recruitment against persons with disabilities. Now, my first question will be directed to Mr. Adamu Abdullahi Idris. Now, what is the clear mandate of the Federal Character Commission?
Thank you, Jennifer. It is a pleasure to be on this program. I wish to commend the Albino Foundation for finding it necessary to engage stakeholders, ministries, departments, and agencies in putting forward the storyline. Federal Character Commission is one of the 14 constitutional bodies that was established by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And it basically have two mandates: to promote and enforce the principle of federal character, particularly in with a creative positioning and political post. It is also, which is a second mandate, and very vital, very pivotal, if people doesn't know, but efforts is being made to launch it very soon. It's also to promote and enforce the issue of proportional sharing of resources across the country, so that each segment of the country will benefit from the national pulse. Unfortunately, the first mandate is what many Nigerians know so sweet. The second mandate is on the stream. The present executive chairman is now sensitizing all the geopolitical zones to herald the takeoff of that mandate. There, we normally think very widely that the implementation of that mandate is the implementation of people's mandate, where resources should be shared proportionally. And we are on course on that.
All right. Well, we're breaking down this mandate, during the course of the program. Now, the next question is to Dr. Okoli, the Director of Public Affairs and Communication. Is the Commission aware of discriminatory recruitment within the public service sector?
Well, the Commission has been doing a lot to ensure that there is a fair equity in the distribution of positions, like our mandate is. The core mandate of the Federal Character Commission is to ensure fair and equitable distribution of posts among the citizens of Nigerian federal establishments. Also, to ensure fair and equitable distribution of socio-economic amenities and infrastructure facilities nationwide. In terms of discrimination against
Persons
with disabilities, we have been in touch with a series of groups or people with disabilities. They have been paying courtesy visits to our commission, and they have been having interaction. It shows is the assumption of the present chief executive of the commission, Dr. Muhibadan Kaka, We have had up to 3 different sets of ESCO members of people living with disability that paid courtesy visit. In short, she has an open door policy for people living with disabilities for any courtesy. There's outstanding instruction that anytime such group want to pay courtesy visit, they should be allowed to see her. They've been doing that. Even the chief executive of people living with the Abanic Foundation, I think Chief Jack Epele, I think we're always in touch with him. I know that he has visited our commission not less than 4 times. Okay, then as a matter of fact, people complain that there is discrimination, and as a result of that, a lot of things have been put in place in the commission. Remember that Mr. President had given an executive order that 5% of vacancies should be reserved for people living with disabilities.
Persons with disabilities.
Yes, in all the MPS. It is the duty of our commission. We are monitoring the enforcement. In our office, in our commission, we have a standing committee for people living with disabilities, headed by a deputy director. And their major function is to ensure that any complaint from people with disability is properly investigated.
Okay.
And in our commission, we operate committee system. We have operational committees, 37 of them in number. Each committee is made up of not less than 16 MDAs, and the committee is headed by a federal commissioner. These committees perform oversight functions to those MDAs under them. So they invite them, they summon them, they interact with them, asking questions in the recruitment. One, they also look at those MDAs that don't have people living with disability in their establishment, asking them why. So with this, we are trying to, the role we are playing is to make sure that this issue of segregation against people living with disability is checked. So we are doing a lot to that.
Okay, we'll be finding that out during the course of the program. I want to actually call out the phone line because I'm really expecting questions from our listener. Most of us are aware of the situation in terms of recruitment process in Nigeria, especially in the public service. So I'm going to be coming up with my next question. But
yes, but before you do
okay.
that, sorry, can I add something?
Please go ahead.
Yes, I think there is no institution that is well established to take care of people with disability challenges than the Federal Character Commission.
All right.
Right from 1999.
Yes.
Right from 1999, when the Federal Character Commission came on board, the Act itself has given a provision that there should be provision for people living with disabilities in the employment of or recruitment of persons into the public service. Secondly, there is a standing order by the Commission when MDAs, by MDAs I mean ministries, departments, and agencies, are submitting their nominal, they must give also a record of those with disabilities.
Are they giving based on merit or based on pudding? Because that is one issue I want us to deal with. Well, please permit me to call out the phone so that people can ask their questions.
Okay.
Thank you. So the WhatsApp number is 0908 875 7498. 0908 875 7498. In case you're not aware, we now have our WhatsApp contact for you to send a message in case you're unable to get through to the phone line. So the phone lines are 0705 149 3324 or 0915 0910482 070514933324 or 0915091048. So we're expecting your questions, we're expecting your messages, including your phone calls. Let's go on a quick break.
As a person with disability in Nigeria, do you know you have a right to vote in the upcoming general
So, Mr. Adam, you said something that the FCC Act
Yeah.
stipulates that
Yes.
PWD should be
Yeah.
recruited.
Yes.
Should be created.
All MDAs are submitting their nominal
Yes.
roles. They should be able to say how many PWDs.
from the north central to the northeast, northwest, southwest, southeast, and south-south. The available safeguarding disability inclusion in Nigeria's electoral process includes ongoing nationwide voter education campaign for the community of persons with disabilities. The Able to Vote activities will commence with a national press conference in Abuja on the 18th of October 2022, while state activities will vote in Abuja October 19th, Kaduna October 24th, Gombe October 21st, Port Harcourt November 7th, Enugu November 16th, Lagos November 21st. Able to vote. Voting is our right. This message is brought to you by the Albino Foundation in collaboration with the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, NCPWD, and funded by the European Union through its EU SDGN program. Now, Disability Inclusion Champion.
Well, many thanks for staying tuned on the program Disability Inclusion, coming to you live from the Network Service of Radio Nigeria. Hello, good evening. Hello. Hello, good evening. Kindly call us back. Hello, good evening. Good evening, sir. Please, what's your name and where are you calling us from? Thanks for joining us today. So, what do you have for us? Thank you so much. I think okay, go ahead.
Okay, let me answer that question.
Yes.
In Federal Capital Commission, we have 37 commissioners. Each state is being represented by a commissioner. The major function of a commissioner is to ensure that indigene of his or her state is not shortchanged.
Okay.
And we monitor all the recruitments.
Mm.
So each recruitment, each MDA that want to recruit, we have a guideline.
Okay.
They must advertise for 6 weeks
Okay.
in 2 widely read national dailies. This is to give opportunity for everybody to apply, including the people living with disabilities.
Okay.
So once it is done, and other standards, other requirements, but these are the major ones.
Okay, so what do you do in cases where there is discrimination, such as secret recruitment?
Well, if there is discrimination, it's an allegation, we investigate it. We investigate it. Each NDA normally make what we call returns, annual returns. Every year, they will return, we will send to the commission every 31st December. They will send to the commission the start disposition of all the NDAs. We will look at it.
Okay.
And we keep on checking if there are new names. There's even quarterly submission. If there is death, they will let us know. Retirement, they will let us know. So if there's any inclusion in what we have, then we'll have to ask. And remember that there are other people that are involved. This IPPIS too,
Yes.
the Cartagena's office, the head of service, and all these things. There are a lot of chains in the recruitment. So for people to this issue of ghost workers is not very easy. Though some people might make an attempt, but it's not very easy. On the issue of the Federal Character Commission, we monitor strictly.
I think
recruitment.
Mr. Abdullahi wants to say something.
Yes, thank you so much, Jennifer. The composition of the Federal Character Commission is the chairman, the executive chairman of the commission, and 37 commissioners. These 37 commissioners are representatives of each and every state of the federation. They assemble at the commission with the purpose of deliberating on the mandates of the commission. One which I have exposed, particularly for proportional sharing of jobs vacancies across the MDS. MDS, I mean the ministries, departments, and agencies. And each state, each commissioner of representing his state is there to protect very wholeheartedly the interests of his state. If he fails to do that, then the state will hold him to ransom. I mean, hold him to court. Now, what are these processes? What are the things that have been put in place to ensure that each and every state is adequately or fairly represented, especially for recruitments? And these are the processes that Dr. Chooks has enumerated. Guidelines, we have what we call guidelines and formula for recruitment.
Okay, what are they, please?
Yes. First and foremost, the MDS must harvest their vacancies. Vacancies, by harvesting vacancies, that means, look, this is the number of people we want to employ because of exiting, retirement, and what have you. Now, after doing that, they will come to the Federal Character Commission after getting budgetary provision and waiver from the head of service to recruit, asking us that they want to either a waiver not to advertise or to go ahead and advertise. There are circumstances when a waiver is given not to advertise. Maybe you are employing 30, 20, and because of problems of overcrowding and what have you, especially if you remember what happened during the immigration brouhaha. So sometimes an agency of filling the vacancies because of maybe a necessity.
Is there like a statistics or strategies now in distributing posts?
Yeah, we have. Yes.
To persons with disabilities, because if you are not advertising, for instance, how will a person with disabilities know
now let me say this.
that there is a recruitment going on?
That is exactly what I've said. Before the establishment of the Commission on Disabilities, the Federal Character Commission Act has made provision for that. That at no occasion should an MDA employ without giving adequate consideration, fair consideration to people living with disabilities. Now, the coming of the commission has given us like a lift because the law providing the commission said it should be not less than 5% or about 5% or thereabouts.
Yes,
that's
minimally
5%.
Yes.
And we are at ease. Looking at the act and how provision has been made, and then the new act of the commission has now given us an opportunity that, engaging and making case for MDS or for people living with disabilities is as easy as anything. So engagement with the commission has been our top priority now. And they are making our job very easier. Identify those MDAs that did not comply, and we take it up. Using our monitoring activities and using the monitoring activities of the of that commission is now giving us a good result.
So how do you sanction or prosecute?
Good. Sanctioning, look, breaching federal character principle is a criminal offense. Criminal offense, and you know what a criminal offense is.
Yes.
If for any reason, after investigations and every other thing, we found out that you have violated the principle of federal character in recruitment, we are taking you to court straight.
All right, the number to send
I
your
think Mr.
WhatsApp
Chicks want to add,
messages.
Dr. Chicks
Yes,
wants to
please,
add
but let
something.
me call out the phone line because I would like to entertain more calls
Okay.
and messages. All right, good evening. We have a caller. Good. Okay. I was going to ask, yes. Go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Ogona. Go ahead, please. Hello. Sorry for interjecting. I was actually going to ask that question.
Let me
Yes.
come. You see,
Okay, he's still on the line. Hello, good
He's
evening.
still-
Thank you for calling us, Chief.
That's a good one.
Thank you. All right, Dr. Okolo.
okay, let me add something on the issue of the criteria for getting job at the Federal Data Commission before I come to this. That or the first question before this one.
Okay.
Well, the criteria is for somebody to meet with the standard set by the commission.
So what's the standard now?
The standard is that if we are looking for admin officers, you must have you must have your DAC, and you know there are requirements. The age now, if you are above 50, you are not going to apply in this. Those standards will be set.
So is it merit based for a
Merit-
person with disability that wants to apply as an administrative assistant,
No,
for instance?
people from even with disability. Once we say standard, they have to meet that standard. If we are looking for BSc, for a job for a level 8 officer or something like that, you cannot employ someone living with disability that had a WAEC.
Okay.
So if the person living with disability meets with the standard, automatically
So in other words,
he gets the job.
their disability is not placed before
It's
them.
not placed.
Okay.
They must meet with the standard,
Okay.
then they get the job. We cannot lower standard because the person is disabled.
Let me add something. In the first place, the person who is putting this question, I want him to understand him what actually he meant. In the first instance, Federal Character Commission does not employ for MDS. In other words, we are only monitoring. If employment is for the Federal Character Commission, people living with disabilities follow the same procedure as we do other people.
No,
And we are okay. Hold on,
Mm.
Jennifer. We are okay because there is nowhere people that are blind, people that are crippled, the albinos, everybody. Many people have gone to universities. They are qualified. So the point is now, because of discriminatory tendencies of we human beings, please give these people opportunities to compete favorably with those that are should I say normal? I'm sorry.
Yes, I think Chief was actually particular about distribution of political appointment now.
Okay, yes, no,
that's
that's
what
Based on
I
the
tell you.
statistics, so
In Federal Data Commission, we have a sizable number of people living with disability as our staff. In Federal Data Commission.
Okay. All right, we like to use the term, in case you're unaware, especially to our listener, we use the term persons with disability because it's their disability, it doesn't stop them from functioning like any other person. So we do not place disability before the person, we look at the person before the disability. So that's why we encourage the use of the term persons with disabilities. So it's still disability inclusion on the network service of Radio Nigeria. We still have more from our guests. We'll go on a quick music break. please keep your questions, contributions, calling out the phone line and phone number on WhatsApp shopping statements.
Jennifer, I even have a question. Let me ask you so you can ask the program starts. It's easier to say, I was on it already. It's easier to say we are given equal opportunity. Equal opportunity. And your brothers accessible during interviews or those exams.
Yeah, I was going to ask that.
Yeah. The how they apply, is it easy? How for someone that is usually impaired? And do we have sign language interpreters? Do we have all of those things that will make it easy for them to even want to participate?
Okay. Thank you.
And we said cripple, physically challenged, blind, visually impaired. We don't use all of them. I'm trying with the songs now. I'm trying with the songs.
Sorry?
I'm trying with the songs.
Okay, you're the one that's your favorite.
I'm thinking about it.
Don't mind me. It's talking about what? Okay, so I'm trying to take, because we are talking about taking up to 6, but if we're able to take 4, I'm okay.
I'm tired of you.
I'm even tired. Seriously, I'm
You
tired.
called it, Abby?
Huh?
You called it.
You see the argument we do for that place, don't be small.
You do
You even called our boss. Yes.
Who?
Your guy called our boss.
Which of them?
Marketing. Okay, please, like I said, yes, talk to the microphone, because I'm hearing you as if you are talking for the corridor.
Don't worry.
Thank you.
You have advised me not to be looking at her.
Exactly. I know she's the one distracting me.
She's the one distracting.
Exciting to know that you are only is Radio Nigeria Network, and the program is Disability Inclusion. You just cut titled Bring It On, such an inspirational song to keep your head up high. On the program, we kick against discrimination persons with disabilities. And today's topic is the role of the Federal Character Commission in addressing discriminatory recruitment against persons with disabilities in Nigeria. We've been able to entertain some calls, but of course the phone lines are still open for you to make your contribution or ask your question. 5-149-3324 or 0915-091-0482, or you can send your WhatsApp message to this number 0908-875-7496. I take that again, 0908-875-7498. And we have our guest from the Federal Character Commission. We have Adamu Abdullahi Idris, the Director, Executive Chairman's Office, and Dr. Chuks Okoli, the Director, Public Affairs Commission. Yes. Ask how convenient the environment is during recruitment processes. And for example, a person who is visually impaired definitely would want to get employed. How convenient is that environment in terms of communication or communicating probably any recruitment question in a public service sector or organization?
We said the most important thing is for the applicant to meet up with the standard. It is not the same way somebody that is not visually impaired and that not is.
So do you make provisions for them? Like just describe it to us so
Yeah,
that
yeah.
it's not just saying it,
Yes, we
by
do.
Okay.
So that is not the same way the other people are tested.
Okay. Okay.
So we make provision for them.
Okay, so now how can citizens work with the commission, to advance transparency and inclusion of persons with disabilities during recruitment processes within the public service sector? I know Mr. Abdullahi have highlighted a few. Probably there might be a complaint now from someone who might have felt discriminated upon during the discrimination process. How do you handle cases like this?
We have, like I told you, we have a standing committee now
Okay.
that is handling any case with persons living with disability. If anybody feel aggrieved, the chance is open for the person to come over and let the complaint that will be taken seriously.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me say this. You see, the gamut of recruitment, especially when it comes to people living with disabilities, must look at their general well-being. As a commission that monitors recruitment into the public service, it is our duty, and we do that, to advise MDS to ensure that all necessary tools in making persons with disabilities go through their recruitment process with ease is provided. Take, for example, when people are going into the buildings, this is a structural thing, maybe Federal Ministry of Works, but we encourage MDS to provide an easy passage for people living with disabilities.
Is this being implemented?
Yes, quite a number
in the
are
Constitution.
Quite a number are implementing it. And now that with the Commission for People with Disabilities, they can make a great headway. Work with the Ministry of Works and Housing and ensure that no building should be erected without having consideration for these special needs. And it can be done. At the commission, when our chief executive came in 2020, and she realized that there is no such passage, she immediately ordered it to be empty. And people with disability, particularly who cannot walk, are finding it easy now to walk into the commission, up to all. So either it is the lift, the elevator, or whatsoever, those conducive provisions to be provided, especially when you look at the act on the commission that has been established and signed by President in 2018. And the commission is now, that is not the Federal Character Commission. The Commission on People with Disabilities should look at those salient points and ensure that it is being implemented. Okay. Yes.
Before I forgot, one chief from Owerri asked a question.
Yes.
The role of Federal Character in appointment of political office, whether they have any role to play. So some of these appointments have been taken over by the Constitution. There are constitutional provisions like ministerial appointments, ambassadorial appointments. All those ones are in the Constitution, which is clear that each state must have a minister or ambassador. And again, on the issue of the person spoke about the service chiefs or something like that.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, the appointment of service chiefs, it's something that is very, very, a lot of things are put into consideration before those ones are appointed.
Like what exactly?
Well, we are talking about maybe the chief executive. People have been saying a lot of the trust, the capability, and whatever, the sensitive nature of that positions that is what people do or we do, they draw their attention geopolitical zone is not represented as well. So, but whoever is making the appointment as a matter of involves security. It's not something that somebody will continue to insist that you must reflect federal character. But there are other ones that are by. So that's
I think what
Let me add something. Let me say something. Section 14 of Section 3 and 14 of Section 4 of the Constitution have made everything abundantly clear that the composition of the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria must reflect the federal character of the country. And what is the federal character? The federal character, as a word in the Constitution, is that the distinctive desire of the Nigerian people to live together, to promote loyalty and peace and unity. And in doing that, you come to an appointment that is very, very clear. It's a constitutional provision. Now, what the chief is saying about maybe service chiefs and what have you, the recent service chiefs that have been provided, I think, have taken some of the concerns of personal. The chief of naval staff, the chief of army staff, the chief of air staff, and what have you. Over time, when there is a lacuna or there is a flip-up in this thing, the constitution, I can get it correct.
So in this vein, what should be the character of the nation towards persons, with disability within the public service?
No discrimination. No discrimination. You see, we talk about people who are qualified and who are not qualified. There is no part of this country that you cannot go and get a qualified individual. Last time that the law school graduated so many people, there are people living with disabilities that graduated. And so also with other fields, various fields. So if you are giving opportunity to people without disability, it is also considered for you to give people with disability opportunities. And that is why the Constitution, the Constitution now has made it clear. I told you our Act has made it very abundantly clear. The gazetting of the 2018 Commission for People with Disabilities, which has come on board, and already the commission is on ground. And I think within the next few years, you can see that these kinds of program doesn't need to remind people of their responsibility.
Okay. So how will you address firing or demotion, from an employee because of their disability? Cases like that. It happens where in an organization someone is not being promoted, instead he or she is being demoted or left in that particular position because of his disability. So in cases like this, what do you do? How do you handle it?
In cases like that, this is clear case of injustice. We will ensure that that person is treated fairly. Honestly, since we have a desk, once that information, that knowledge is brought to us, we will rectify it. Nobody. Our core mandate, we are saying, to ensure fair and equitable distribution of position, to protect interests of all the Nigerians in both human and material resources. Not women human, women personnel. When women human material resources, we are talking about socio-economic and facilities. Like the other one, on first question the person asked, the man from Owerri, whether we have any role to play in siting or projects. He says that.
Yes.
He says something like that. We do. For the past 2 years, since the inception of this administration, headed by the president, have been touring around, monitoring projects, ensuring that projects are fairly distributed. They held meetings with the ministers and look at what they have for each geopolitical zone. They look at the projects they have at hand, and they will now be briefed on what they intend to do with the next so and so geopolitical zone have not had enough projects. The other one projects have been concentrated on the other zone. Advice, you have to take into consideration those geopolitical zones that have lesser projects and cite more projects. Our commission will do that.
Okay, now in the public service in terms of having a dignified working environment. Now, how can the Federal Character Commission influence dignified working environment? For instance, assistive devices such as hearing aids, and in cases with his or her desk because of an accessibility situation where in that organization, he or she leave of absence now just for how do you make the working environment conducive for
Let me answer this.
Okay.
You see, it's not a lawmaking body. When there are issues of law, particularly with its conducive environment for people there, and it is now the work with disabilities to work closely with the nation. That each and every MDA is an atmosphere for people living with disabilities. With that, you can see improvement in everything that will make that environment. I don't know if other topics have some.
Okay. They are not sure. The question is, how does promote?
yes.
Okay, one have been sensitizing the need proclaimed by Mr. President for ability. Again, there have been a lot of sensitization. So it's a part of the rule, and we check, like you said, there is now a column during the summer of the terminal.
Okay.
A person column for the people living with disability. From there, we monitor.
Sincerely appreciate it. We actually have to move over to
I
our
can
next
conclude.
segment. Please, I'll give you an opportunity
Okay.
to do that.
Okay.
Well, then, if you're just joining us, it's been Disability Inclusion on the network service of Radio Nigeria, and so far, we've been taking a look at the role of the Federal Character Commission in promoting disability friendliness and inclusivity in the recruitment process. My name is Jennifer Obo, your host on the program. Stay with us as we come up with a segment where we talk about the salient provisions of the Disability Rights Act. So the Act provides for the full integration of persons with disabilities into the society and establishes the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities. Section 1 of the Act expands the rights of persons with persons not to be discriminated against by prohibiting discrimination against persons with disability on the ground of their disability by any person or institution in any manner or circumstance. Section 57 of the Act defines disability to include long-term physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory impairment which in interaction with various barriers may hinder full or effective participation in society on an equal basis with others, and discrimination to be differential treatment and its verbs and infinite form discriminate to discriminate have the corresponding signification. So the Act criminalizes the act of discrimination against persons with disability, as it is an offense liable upon conviction to 6 months imprisonment or a fine of 100,000 naira, or both imprisonment and a fine for an individual. For a body corporate, it will be liable upon conviction to a fine of 1 million naira. Notably, while the Act criminalizes the discrimination of disabled persons, it allows the victim of the discriminative act to institute a civil action against the offender without prejudice to any acquittal or conviction. Thus, the Act allows for both civil and criminal liability. Hope you've been able to take that information down and seriously. It's still disability inclusion on the network service of Radio Nigeria. Stay with us as we begin to wind down to look at the star of the week. And the star of the week is Ugochukwu Omego. Stay with us.
Producer.
I'm going to beat him. I said, going to beat him.
I don't know why he was jumping.
So you are signing
The
off.
engineers,
Christy, very Ade, just get ready to sign up. If my boss give me query on Monday,
Okay.
sign a copy, I'll post a copy to Christian, you know this person.
Jonathan.
Ade, Solomon, and Jonathan. Jonathan, Anyao. Thank you. You deserve a copy.
And it's on this note to draw the curtain on this week's edition of the program Disability Inclusion. Special thanks to our guest for honoring our invitation. The engineers on duty was led by Christy Hankley, including Adeyemi Solomon and Jonadab Anyanwu. The studio manager has been Phineas Udueyo. Now, for more information on the activities of the Albino Foundation, visit our website at www.albinofoundation.org and our social media handles at Facebook on Facebook at the Albino Foundation and Instagram and Twitter at TAF_NIG. The student manager has been Phineas Udueyo. Many thanks. This program is powered by the European Union in collaboration with the Albino Foundation. The producer has been Stephen Disabo. Thank you so much. My name is still Jennifer Owo, your host always. Do have a splendid weekend, and to all those who called in, we sincerely appreciate you. Bye for now.
Elder Jennifer.
Yes, so let's just
You want to
Jennifer,
do,
you
you want to do 4 hours?
yes,
Finish
just
her 2
4
times.
hours.
Remove
Yes.
the
It's a
second
lie.
one when you
Are
call
you
it.
serious?
Remove the
You
second
know what I
one.
did?
That was what I was looking at.
Do you know what I did?